Guys, I'm Mel, the founder of Guided Recovery and the creator of the Reframe, Rewire, Reset program. I am so glad you found me because I have so much empathy for people that are struggling and are stuck in that cycle of wanting to quit drinking, using their willpower, white knuckling it through, only ending up to go back to the drinking again. So that's why I'm here to tell you it does not have to be this way. Let me guess, you've tried to quit drinking a number of times. You may have been to AA, you may have been to therapy, you may even have been to rehab, but yet you still find that you go back to the drinking. I want you to know that you are not broken, you are not powerless, and you are not weak. You have just become addicted to an addictive substance, and that's what alcohol is. It is a neurotoxic, addictive drug. So I don't want you to beat yourself up anymore that you're stuck in this cycle of addiction, or you're in that problem area, that grey area drinking where you find that you can go a couple of days, maybe in a couple of weeks, but then you end up going back in the cycle. So I want you to know that I'm here to help. I am a qualified neuroscience coach, and I am also a qualified hypnotherapist, so I can help you reprogram your subconscious mind back to that of a non-drinker. Now, a lot of people haven't heard about the subconscious mind. They don't talk about this in AA. They don't talk about it that much in therapy, but it is the key to getting sober and staying sober without having cravings, without white knuckling it through each day, and without wanting to drink. That's what you need to get rid of, that obsession. You know the obsession when you're constantly feeling like having a drink. If you can't drink, it'll be on your mind all the time. When you're trying to go without, just keeps on popping back up. And the reason this happens is because it is in your programming. It is in your subconscious mind. Think of your subconscious mind like a computer. You know how a computer has all the programming into it and it just runs on autopilot? That is your brain, and that is what you have done with the drinking. You have created a pattern, you have created a program, so it has become your autopilot. So I'm going to explain to you how the subconscious mind works and why it is so important to reprogram this if you want to be successful and happy in staying sober. So 5% of your thinking, your rational thinking, comes from your conscious mind, and 95%, you heard me right, 95% is coming from your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind is like your autopilot. So when you are born and you start breathing and your heart starts beating, this is your subconscious mind at play. You have learned this in the womb while your mother was pregnant. So as soon as you are born, automatically, you don't have to think about beating your heart. You don't think about having to breathe. It is an automatic process. It's in your subconscious mind. Now, as you grow up, as from a baby until all the way up to now, everything that happens around you is stored in your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind doesn't know negative from positive. It doesn't analyze the situation or anything that's happening around you. It just stores it as it is. So it sees people drinking around you all the time, at every function, at every event. It also sees it happening on the TV. It hears it on the radio. It sees it in movies. And it also most likely sees it in the people around you. So family members, friends as you get older. And you see them all drinking for all sorts of different occasions, or all for all sorts of different emotions. So you may have seen your mum or dad come home from work after a stressful day. So what did they do? They had a drink. You may have seen people going to weddings, birthdays, parties. And what do you see them doing there? You see them drinking. You see someone sad and crying. So what do you see them do? You see them drinking. You see people celebrating. What are they doing? They're drinking. And without you even realizing it, this is all being stored in your subconscious mind. So before you even start drinking, before you get to that age where you do start to drink, your brain already knows that if any of these events happen, if any of these feelings arise, that drinking is the normal reaction. It's the normal behavior. It's the go-to for any occasion where you have watched and learned it before. So some other things that are stored in your subconscious mind is like driving. Have you ever driven somewhere and gotten there and had no idea how you got there? You don't remember. It's because driving is stored in your subconscious mind. Remember when you were first learning to drive, how hard it was to remember the gears, to remember to indicate, to look in the rearview mirror, to check the traffic, to look what's ahead, to look behind you. It was so much to take in. But over time, and it doesn't take that long, it gets stored in your subconscious mind so that you don't have to think about it. And this was the same for when you learned to walk. When you were first learning, it took a lot of concentration to learn how to use your legs and to move in a certain way so that you would walk. Same as simple tasks like buttering a piece of bread. If you've ever watched your kids do this for the first few times, you can see they have no idea, and it takes so much concentration just to put a bit of butter on bread. Now you do this without even a thought. In fact, you can multitask, and you can do that whilst being on the phone or whilst watching TV, having conversations. This is the power of your subconscious mind. It is your autopilot. It has learned all of your patterns, all of your repeated behaviors, and it has stored it in there so that to get through day-to-day life, you don't have to use so much of your brain power when these are already being noticed as being things that are happening all the time as patterns. So it just stores it so you don't have to concentrate. If you did, life would be exhausting. The same thing happens when you start to drink alcohol. If you drink because you are sad, if you drink because you're happy, if you're drinking to celebrate, if you're drinking to reward yourself, if you're drinking because you're hanging around with friends, if you're drinking because you're at a certain event or at a certain place, this all gets stored in your subconscious mind. And this is why it's so hard to break free. Because if you've been drinking for years or decades like I had, every single moment in your life is related back to alcohol. So even though you may know that it's ruining your life, and it may have even gotten to that point where it's destroying your relationships and it's destroying your health, but you still find yourself stuck and you keep going back even though you know you really don't want to, it's because it's stored in your subconscious. It's your autopilot. And until you go in and you change that and you change it back to that of a non-drinker that doesn't think about alcohol, that doesn't like to drink, that has no interest in drinking, then it becomes easy. And your new autopilot behavior is to not drink, to not think about drinking, to not crave alcohol. And this is where true freedom comes from. White knuckling it and trying to use willpower just doesn't work. Willpower runs out because you're having to use your conscious mind to use willpower. And as you heard before, you only use 5% of your conscious mind. The rest is the 95%. So to use willpower using your conscious mind is absolutely exhausting for your brain. It's like trying to learn walking. It's a whole activity for your brain, and it just gets tired and it gets exhausted. So now you should have a fair understanding of how the subconscious mind works and why it is so important to go in and reprogram your subconscious mind back to that of a non-drinker.